Hello folks, I am back yet again for another review, and today we're taking a look at this behemoth. This is a Athearn ready-to-roll U50 Union Pacific diesel locomotive. No, this is not the U50C, this is the regular U50. I got this locomotive for a whopping 300 Canadian dollars. Like I said, this is a ready-to-roll Union Pacific numbered 53. Item number 88677. And yeah, so here's the box. It's a pretty cool looking box. This is a 2011 model. That's the other side. I will say, for this being a ready-to-roll model, this looks, at least in my opinion, better than my Athearn Genesis locomotives. So I'm not really sure if ready-to-roll is better than Genesis, because, let's be real here, I have an Athearn GP9 from 2023, and this, in detail, beats it. Like, literally beats it. So yeah, I'm not really sure what's up with that. But yeah, without any further delay, we'll take it out of its beautiful box. And here's some manuals. We have a gas turbine locomotive limited warranty, with nothing on the other side. Then we have a U50 locomotive manual with an exploded parts diagram. Unfortunately, there are no pre-fitted speakers, and it looks like to get to the pre-fitted speakers, you have to take the turbo detail off, which is a bit annoying. But yeah. And then all the parts, there seems to be about 95. Oh, you can get a traction tire driver. Interesting. And yeah, there's that beautiful behemoth. And I will say, this locomotive is massive. Just for reference here, here's our regular locomotive. This is a Rapido-8-40 CM. And comparing it to the front of it, it's pretty big. Although not really that big. And yeah, there it is. This weighs a ton. Although, not really. But, we'll see. And just to make sure here, there is nothing else in the box. Nope, nothing else. Let's put all this back inside here. And back inside. Alright, and here's the locomotive itself. So yeah, here it is. I guess that's really it. And yeah, you can see that detailing inside. Now here's some extra parts. Some ladders. I say extra, these are really just parts that they didn't put on because they didn't feel like it. Oh. Also saying, might as well just add here, the locomotive does actually have a die-cast fuel tank, which most Athearn locomotives do not have die-cast fuel tanks. So yeah, here it is. As you can see, there's the etched metal grills. You can't really see through the camera, but this is completely see-through, and there is a giant turbo there. Now, the only thing that disappoints me with this model, alright, is the fact that these are non-powered. These axles are dummies. Yep, you got that right. These do not put any power to the track. In real life, if I read the description they gave correctly, all of the axles were powered. Apparently, these actually use the gas turbine trucks, not the big blow, but like the one before that. And as you can see, there's no power to those trucks, which again is really disappointing because, let's be real here, this by itself should be able to pull a 30-car train minimum, and it struggles. Oh, there's my sub pump. Not sure if you've heard that, but yeah, it struggles, which is very unfortunate. But like I said here, for this being a ready to roll model, and it's not even a Genesis, this looks like a museum quality locomotive. I don't notice the cutbacks. To if I'm being real, I don't notice any cutbacks. This all looks incredible. Like I said, the etched metal here, which again, unfortunately, I just can't show fully, and I don't have anything that could demonstrate that. Regardless, though, yeah, the etched metal, the turbos sitting there in the back, which again is like incredible for $300. And even in there, there's detailing. It's all etched metal. Wherever etched metal can be, it's etched metal. Even on the bottom, it still looks pretty good. I just don't like the fact that there's like nothing here. I don't know how much understill detail there would have been on the real ones, but yeah, there's just giant speaker cutouts, which, to be honest, judging by how much etched metal there is here, surely there could have been a speaker inside the model, for again, how big this is. But, oh well. And yeah, so that's it, basically. And then those spare parts that I just showed you, these ones, would go right here. But I guess they don't put it on because of layout restrictions, and that's where the bell would go right there. Now, I'm contemplating of actually putting these parts on because I want to sell this. After all, I kind of like it, but I don't really. And I did get it for a good deal, so I might sell it. But, alright, regardless, so yeah. So, I think with that out of the way, I think the model is great looking. Like I said, the fuel tank's die-cast. This is realistic, by the way, for those who are wondering. They did do this in real life. Unfortunately, though, none of the class lights are lit. It does use bulbs. Number boards aren't lit. So yeah, a bit disappointing there, but the horns look great. I'm not sure what type of horns would be, maybe an E2. But yeah, regardless, though, still looks pretty good. And yeah, without further ado, let's take this over to the coupler height test. Here it is on the track, with, of course, the trusty tangent scale hopper, because this thing is made to be NRA standards. And of course, on the right, the U50. So let's see here. Will they be good? No, that is low. That's a bit unfortunate. Alright, let's see the other side here. I should say the B end, or rear, for those who like to call it rear, or B end. So let's line them up. And let's see. Nope, that didn't even line up. Okay, the coupler stuck to the right. This is railed, right? Yes. Okay, let's see. Nope. Alright, there we go. This one is a perfect coupler height. Okay, so the front's off, but the rear is off. That's a bit unfortunate there. Alright, without any further ado, let's try the 20-second radius test. Something tells me with the rear ladders installed, I don't think I could do the 20-second radius, but let's try it anyways. Alright, so here for a 20-second radius test, and yeah, as you can see, pretty surprisingly, it does actually do a 20-second radius fine. So yeah, no issues there at all. Keep in mind that this was without the bell on, and this was without the steps on. I'm pretty certain, though, with the rear steps on, it would not do it. I think that is too much, or I should say too much. It goes out too far to accommodate for that, for a 20-second radius. So yeah, that would not work with the rear steps on, and I think that's why they didn't put them on from the factory. So yeah, but as you can hear, it is pretty loud. Yeah, not the quietest locomotive ever, but still respectable. And here was some cars on the rear. I thought I might as well just try it with some cars. And yeah, as you can see, because of that overhang, it does it completely fine. So yeah, no problems with the 20-second radius test. So I found a perfect spot on my layout here, and you can really see those turbos now, which is great. You can see this side too here. Really good detail for just being a ready-to-run model. I also put the rear steps on, which again, they don't fit in all the way, which is strange. And I also put the bell on too there, which with that on, there's not much rotation, so you have to be kind of mindful with that. With that on, I don't think there's any way at all that this is negotiating a 20-second radius. And also, I should mention that the cab is pretty detailed, although there is literally just a cab and that's it. Like, there's no um, levers, latches, or anything on the inside, if I'm going to be honest here. There really isn't. There is seats, but there's just no, yeah, I can see clearly that there's no control stand or anything in the cab. It's just nothingness. I don't think the beacon is lit either. But yeah, without any further ado, let's commence the running session. Alright, well, back here with some freight now. I have a decent sized consist. I know this is not a realistic one in any means at all, but it is a decently sized consist, as after all, for how big this thing is, it weighs no more than an F unit. No, I'm not joking. So yeah, bit unfortunate there, but this is about the maximum it can pull, but I'll keep adding cars till it stops. Alright, so here for the weigh-in for this U50. So I have a little bit of a comparison here. Here's a Walters Proto 2000 F3B locomotive. Just to show how relative to size light this is, here's the Walters Proto weight. 1 pound, 3.3 ounces. And then here's the U50. 1 pound, which is, why does this weight keep going up? Interesting. 1 pound, 10.9 ounces. Now again, just for show, 1 pound, 10 ounces. 1 pound, 3.3 ounces. Not that far off a Walters F unit. And Skill Trains SD40-2. 1 pound, 2.0 ounces. So yeah, if I'm going to be honest here, it's not really that good. And I might as well just show here. A Cowell unit. 1 pound, 13.5 ounces. So yeah, although it does weigh a good amount for how big it is, there really is still a lot of space inside the locomotive. Now, I'm not going to open it because I just don't want to risk breaking anything. Regardless, though, yeah, I think it could be a lot heavier. And just for a size comparison here, you can see the difference between a SW1200 switcher against the U50. And yeah, you can see it really is about, I guess, a yacht, I should be saying, compared to the boat. But yeah, there it is. Alright, without further ado, let's go up to the running session. Alrighty, folks, I'm here for the running session. So today, we're going to be running the U50. I keep wanting to say C. Today, we're going to be running the U50 with about 21 passenger cars, 21 freight cars of the appropriate era. Now, they're not exactly there, but they're close enough to the appropriate era. After all, they do look good behind this locomotive. So, but just for I will just be running those. But yeah, without any further ado, let's reverse up to them. Keep in mind, this is a non-sound locomotive, and it is DCC ready, but keep in mind, I did put a Digitrax 123 decoder into it. Alrighty, folks, hope y'all enjoyed this review on this Athearn U50. But I will say, this locomotive, at least for my final thoughts here, I think it is interesting. It's a great running locomotive if you don't put too much behind it. The thing is, though, I think, which again, I said in my previous videos, if you have seen that, or if you're new to the channel, I do a point system around here, out of 100, and from there I deduct points. Usually in increments of 5, 10, or 15, or 20. So my point system categories is basically detail, coupler height, and running capabilities. So for coupler height, well, the front one's off, so minus 5 points there, 95. That's still a pass, of course, but I will be taking 20 points off for the fact of the second set of trucks not being powered. They should be. There's really no excuse for them not to be. Surely that technology existed in 2010. Again, I'm taking 20 points off, which brings us down to 75. Yes, 75. And I think that's really all the points I'm going to be taking off, because overall, besides that, the locomotive does look great. The flanges are a bit big in my opinion, but it doesn't ruin the model. Overall, though, I do think this is a great model, and I do recommend it, if you're willing to put up with that. And I will say, I do have a 4% grade on my layout. I think it's a 4%, it's around there. I know it's a pretty steep grade. But I will say, one locomotive that's not even prototypically driven, for it to pull 21 cars up with 4% on my layout, that's really good. So I think these could probably easily do 60 cars, probably 60, around there. Because it was able to pull all 31 cars. It just couldn't do it around the entire layout. So that's pretty good in my opinion. So yeah, I do recommend this model. It is a great puller, but like I said, it would have been nice if those other two axles, or I say axles, trucks were powered. But alright, that leaves us with 75 points. I do recommend it. Thank you all folks so much for watching. And if you can, please like and subscribe. It does greatly help out the channel. Alrighty folks, thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you on my next one. Goodbye folks.